Did the government mishandle this? Why could the government not talk to the Chief Justice of India? Why couldn't there be a conversation? Why has the government chosen the confrontational path? Is this a big mess up in this case? The BJP has a lot to defend tonight, and that's why we have two views from the BJP. Pinky Anand, member of the National Executive and advocate of the Supreme Court. Pinky Anand, welcome back to the program. Satyapal Jain, national head of the legal cell of the BJP. Thank you very much. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Aryaman Sundaram, Congress spokesperson and MP and senior advocate of the Supreme Court. Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, and Abad Ponda is advocate of the Mumbai High Court. So we have different views tonight. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the government argument is this, Dr. Singhvi. Can you hear me, Dr. Singhvi?
Yes, of course, I can.
Yeah. So the government says, we don't know why Abhishek Manu Singhvi and the Congress party are trying to say we made a mistake. We can't pick up the phone and tell the Chief Justice of India our views. And had we spoken to the Chief Justice of India and told the Chief Justice of India that, with respect to you, sir, we don't agree with the appointment of Gopal Subramaniam, and had the Chief Justice of India held his ground and say, I don't agree with you, then the government position would have no locus standi. Reconsideration is part of the consultation process. What is the big fault in what we've done? The government is asking you tonight.
Can I respond, Arnav?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. First of all, don't insult the intelligence of this government, that the government is to come out with such fig leaves of pretenses and excuses. This is the most flippant and puerile set of excuses I can ever think of. The government is unfortunately, and not speaking through the law minister, not speaking officially, but through a series of innuendos, press leaks, etc., suggesting that segregation is a normal thing and that there is no problem.
Yes.
But according to me, the charge is not segregation at all. That is digressing and diverting the issue. There have been, of course, many instances of segregation. The issue is that when evidence amply, indubitably establishes that the segregation was only because I opposed Modi and you therefore, Arnab, segregated me, then this is a direct assault on judicial independence. Now give me half a second more. The only other reasons trotted out are, one, IB report, nobody has heard of it, seen it, a swimming pool allegation where nothing was taken, a tape recording where actually Subramaniam is praised for his integrity and objectivity, and a CBI complaint, no doubt, which was settled many years ago in the public domain, after which the CBI has repeatedly engaged Subramaniam in important cases. So if you take away the fig leaf of these pretenses and excuses, the sole sin committed by Subramaniam is that he had the temerity, and by the way, no self-respecting lawyer, Arnab, will refuse an amicus brief, that he had the temerity to accept an amicus brief and to give his objective views. And last and not the least, Arnab, lastly, there is now evidence in the public domain. A very senior minister of this government and a valued colleague of ours, erstwhile valued colleague of ours, has in the public domain written against Mr. Subramaniam when the case in the Supreme Court, the amicus brief, was taken up. So it is very clear that the view of the BJP about Mr. Subramaniam has been articulated in writing in the public domain more than 2 or 3 years ago. And unfortunately, Arnab, this is the intersection of blatant violation of judicial independence coupled with vendetta politics in the sphere of appointment of judges. And lastly, Subramaniam has done a great service to the government by not putting more egg on its face by this completely uncalled for and hasty withdrawal. I think the Chief Justice used the language of studied moderation. He is compelled by his office to use that language, but he has condemned this action of the government. And had Mr. Subramaniam not withdrawn and reiterated his withdrawal, I have no doubt, and the Chief Justice statement itself makes it clear yesterday, that there would have been a reiteration and a re-endorsement, and then the government would have been scuttling in all corners.
All right. 1 second. So Abhishek Manu Singhvi, you've had your opening remarks. I hope you will, with equal attention, listen to the response of the BJP representatives and the two lawyers who will counter your views. And Aryaman Sundaram, I'm coming to you. By the way, this is open debate.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, Arnav, that you heard me without interruption. Very pleasantly surprised. I hope you keep to your own standards.
So I was listening to you because I was watching with clear and obvious attention to the several inconsistencies of your own argument, which I assure you, Dr. Singhvi, I will point out in the course of the discussion. That's why I was listening to you.
Thank you.
Pinky Anand, your response. Point is, why has your government become so arrogant in 1 month? Why don't you consult the Supreme Court Collegium while formulating your own opinion?
Arnab, the procedure which is set down by the pronouncements of the court as well as the interpretation of the constitution is very clear. The collegium recommends, the government is to consider, and the manner of consideration of government incidentally is set down that the IB and the CBI reports are to be considered not only for the appointment of a Supreme Court judge but also vis-a-vis bureaucrats, senior bureaucrats and secretaries, and based upon that recommendation the government can accept it and reject the contention of the collegium, and thereafter the matter has to be sent back to the collegium, and it is for the collegium then to take a final
Then why did you leak stories against Gopal Subramaniam?
This, Arnab.
Tell everyone tonight, why did you leak stories against Gopal Subramaniam?
No,
tell everyone tonight.
We leaked the stories. Arnab, the question is very clear. When you asked on the first instance, let me just conclude on that and I'll come back to this in a moment. The question is of the government's power. First of all, by this entire exercise, what is sought to being said is that the government has no power in this entire process to do or not to do anything. The government has
no, that's not what is being said.
When the collegium recommends, the government should accept blindfoldedly without taking any action
no, absolutely
so therefore,
not. Nobody is saying
the constitutional scheme is the president appoints. The president appoints the judges,
saying that.
And that is the manner of appointment.
Okay,
so therefore,
we are
to say the
opening
state
up
government has done this.
We're open to debate now. We're open to debate. Ariman Sundaram raises his hand. He goes in first. Ariman Sundaram. No. But by the way, I would like to point out the collegium's nomination is forwarded to the government on the 6th of May 2014. On the 28th, the Chief Justice receives the government's opinion. In between these periods, several stories against Gopal Subramaniam are leaked. The Congress party says, why are you leaking information against him? Are you doing this to create a case against him? BJP says, we never leaked the stories. Ariman Sundaram jumping into the debate. Yes, please. Ariman Sundaram.
Arnab, let's just get one thing very clear. The procedure is very, very simple. The Supreme Court sends its recommendations to the government. The government thereafter looks into it, and if they have any comments, if they do not agree with anything, they then send the list back together with their comments. The Supreme Court then considers this, and then after this reconsideration, either reiterates their original recommendation, sends it back to the government, in which case it's binding on the government, or the Supreme Court may accept some of the suggestions made by the government after considering the matter, and may in fact even delete any names from that list. Now this is the procedure. What has been done here is something totally different. The list has been sent to the government. The government has unilaterally segregated without discussion with the court, without discussion with the Chief Justice, has segregated without any such discussion, removed one name and said warrants will be issued for the other three. Now what has been done is one very vital link. If they had an objection, they should have sent the list back and said, look, we have an objection to this name, the other three are fine, please reconsider. And the court could have either sent back all four names or three names or done what it wanted. This is the procedure. Why was this procedure departed from? It is my view that over the years, the Supreme Court has become a very, very powerful body. There have been complaints that the Supreme Court is coming into policy matters and is interfering with government action. I believe that this was an aim of the government to try to very subtly say that, look here, we are going to exert our rights. And I do not think the people in government are so naive that they were unaware of the procedure. They were so naive that it was, a mere procedural lapse. I think it was a very deliberate aim to say, look here, we as government are also not so happy with the earlier judgment which gives the primacy to the Supreme Court. We should be involved.
No, you see the argument being made. I see Sanjay Hegde's hand go up there. Satyapal Jain wants to come in as well. The argument being put here is very, very clear now. This is a tough battle. A new government with a huge majority feels it is very powerful and very empowered. And there is a feeling that we need to put the judiciary in its place. Sanjay Hegde, I see you are wanting to come into the debate. So, there is no consultation between May 6th the date when the collegium forwards names to the executive, including that of Gopal Subramaniam, and May 28th, when the executive's decision to question and segregate Gopal Subramaniam is placed before the collegium. What Aryaman Sundaram says is this:
Let's get one
that
thing
this
clear.
government is wanting to pick a fight with the judiciary. Yes, Sanjay Hegde.
Let's
That
get
it's a
one
tough
thing clear.
battle.
The Supreme Court made one recommendation of 4 names. It did not make 4 recommendations of 4 separate names. So if you disagreed with the Supreme Court's one recommendation, then you sent back the recommendation and said, this part of the recommendation we have a problem with. This is a new government. This is a government with a huge majority. I don't want to go into the question of whether it was getting into a turf battle or anything. It lacked constitutional vision.
No, why don't you?
It treated this appointment, yes, it treated this appointment like the appointment of a minister's personal secretary. No, you will not have this man. They've done it in the bureaucracy. They treated this file just like that and said, no, this man, we have a problem. These 3, we are sending it across to the president. Let the appointments go through. That is not how constitutional functionaries behave. That is not how constitutions work. You work in an atmosphere of consensus. That the dialogue process is not one way, but the dialogue must be a sustained and polite process.
But why was there no dialogue, Satyapal Jain?
Forgotten.
Tell me, why was there no dialogue?
Mr. Arnab, the position, legal position is very, very clear, and I am very sorry to say that unnecessary imputations have been attributed to the government about the confrontation with the judiciary and all that. The Supreme Court Collegium proposed 4 names to the government for consideration for making appointment against 4 vacancies in the Honorable Supreme Court. The government has no problem with so far as the 3 persons are concerned. There is some reservation, some material against the 4th proposed nominee by the Honorable Supreme Court.
No, what material? You don't show the material.
Just give me 1 minute.
You impute the material.
Just give me 1 minute.
You plant stories about the material, and Gopal Subramaniam says the only reason is because I put Amit Shah in the dock.
That is what
Pinky Anand and you don't want to
the
answer.
basis on which the 3 judges were recommended
Let us forget what Gopal Subramaniam says. The giving of the material is visualized even by the Supreme Court in the 9 judges bench judgment which I am having before me. And if you permit me, just I'll read 3 lines from the Supreme Court 9 judges bench. This says, the Chief Justice of India is not entitled to act solely in his individual capacity without consultation with other judges of the Supreme Court in respect of materials and information conveyed by the Government of India for non-appointment of a judge recommended for appointment. This is visualized by even the 9 judges bench that in certain case government may have certain reservation. The material is being supplied back by the Government of India to the Supreme Court, and as per this 9 judges bench, it is all collegium which will sit together.
1 minute, let me also point your attention. Let me also bring your attention, since you bring in one case. 1 second.
His name.
No, 1 second. Let me bring your attention to the case, and I want Abad Ponda to come in. Abad Ponda, by the way, welcome to the News Hour, your first appearance on the program. Feel free to come into the debate. This is an open debate right now. I'm not going to be tossing around. Feel free to come to the debate. The question is, in the October 6, 1993 judgment in the Supreme Court's Advocate on Record Association versus Union of India case, Supreme Court categorically states that the executive may have its say, but the ultimate decision lies with the Chief Justice of India and the Collegium after due consideration of the executive's views. So, just to take the other argument, what are we blaming the government for? Had Gopal Subramaniam stood his ground, not taken back his candidature, and the Chief Justice of India backed that, Gopal Subramaniam would have become a Supreme Court judge even if the government felt there were problems with him. So the government's views were not binding on the Supreme Court. It's the other way around.
Arnav, I think what has happened is very unfortunate. Normally, honorable judges of the High Court who are Chief Justices are elevated to the Supreme Court of India. But in this case, considering Mr. Gopal Subramaniam's eminence, his standing, his integrity, honesty and capability, he was sought to be an able candidate to be made a Supreme Court judge by the Collegium and the Chief Justice. Now, you are absolutely right when you say that as per the 94 judgment of the Supreme Court, though the President signs the warrant, it requires ordinarily the consensus of the Chief Justice and the other judges of the Collegium. But ultimately, the government's decision is never binding on the Collegium. The government's decision is only one which is recommendatory in nature. Now, what has happened here, instead of criticizing everybody, one must understand the problem we face. The problem is getting confounded because Mr. Gopal Subramaniam, who's an extremely honest and a man with great integrity, has felt singled out. Unfortunately, this took place when the Supreme Court was on vacation. And when the Supreme Court was on vacation, the Honorable Chief Justice was abroad. He felt nobody is speaking up for him, and Mr. Subramaniam has obviously felt singled out. And he has gone and said that I am really not interested in something where people are criticizing me. If Mr. Subramaniam had just waited for a few days, as Justice Lodha said, then necessarily things may have been different. But even now, I don't think the situation is out of hand. In my submission, the Collegium is not obliged to accept his withdrawal. They can always persuade him to see that he doesn't withdraw, because ultimately the casualty is the cause of justice. We are losing an extremely good person who would be an asset to the Supreme Court and to the judiciary in this country. One doesn't realize that by this kind of an approach, what is happening is by saying the man has given up and it's singled out, it doesn't end, the problem doesn't end. This is going to set a precedent in future to a conflict between the executive and the judiciary qua appointment of judges of the Supreme Court, which is a very serious matter and can't be just simply sidestepped by saying that the gentleman concerned has chosen to step down. Why has the gentleman chosen to step down? The gentleman is an extremely upright person who does not want to involve himself in controversy and feels that it is better for him to step down. Whether he has taken the right decision or not is not the question. The question is, why did he take this decision? And this decision is taken in the interest of justice, in interest of everyone to see that the person does not want to show that I'm giving up a lucrative practice, ultimately be criticized. Mr. Subramaniam is an extremely competent lawyer with a very lucrative practice.
Mr. Ponda, there are two political issues here. One, yes, Abhishek Singhvi, coming back to you, there are two issues here. One, political turf battle between government and judiciary. Is there one? Point number two, I think Abhishek Manu Singhvi should show facts tonight to link the decision of the government to Gopal Subramaniam's position on Amit Shah. Or Abhishek Manu Singhvi should, on behalf of the Congress party, take that back and say that Gopal Subramaniam also has no business surmising that it is because of his position of Amit Shah that the BJP-led government is victimizing him. Mr. Singhvi, would you produce some proof to draw those links, or is it just guesswork on your behalf?
I'll immediately answer your question, but I want to first say that for a person so outstandingly suitable to be a Supreme Court judge as Gopal Subramaniam, I have no hesitation in saying he made a Himalayan blunder in withdrawing. Because he could have withdrawn today as we speak, he could have withdrawn day after, he could have withdrawn next week. Withdrawal was always open to him. He didn't give a fair chance to the Collegium. And the Chief Justice almost made it crystal clear just yesterday that had that chance been given, the Collegium would have reiterated. Now, that's a Himalayan blunder. I am very pleasantly surprised with the new angle given by the previous speaker, whom I don't know, but I think it's a very, very good comment. Quite frankly, I don't think it will happen, but the spirit of what she says should lead the Collegium to reiterate nevertheless. Although personally, as a lawyer, I know it's impossible. Personally, I think that the simple technical argument that you can't force a person to be a judge who refuses to be a judge. But I think the majesty of the system can and should be upheld by sending that signal very clearly.
By doing what?
I appreciate this somewhat what he has just said, the previous speaker, that despite the refusal of Gopal Subramaniam to withdraw his withdrawal, the Chief Justice of the Collegium re-endorses it after informally persuading him and saying that no, we stand by our original recommendation.
You want a state of conflict, don't you, between the government and the court?
No,
that's what you want, Dr.
Singhvi. Please.
You are playing politics in this.
Sensationalizing, Arnab. You are sensationalizing. This is a suggestion. This is a suggestion from the previous speaker, not from me. I am endorsing it. I think I am adding, in fairness, it will not happen. It cannot happen because of a simple objection that the Collegium cannot force an unwilling person to be a judge. But I am telling you that the spirit of the system requires it to be done, because this is an unfair rejection of an outstanding candidate.
Pinky Anand.
As far as the other thing is concerned,
can
I answer your other question?
When you have
let her respond to this one. We'll come back.
and
Let us respond to this one. We'll come back to the second.
collegium for whatever reasons
Arnav,
best
you
known
asked
to
an
him,
important question.
then
Let me
can
finish
the
that.
process
Very
compel
quickly.
him to come forward in this fashion as you suggest? And is it nothing short than a conflict which you are proposing between the executive and the judiciary? Today
No,
the
I'm
system
saying that
happens
it's
to be
unlikely to
in
happen.
fact very
I'm
clear
saying-
and divided.
I'm saying the
to the
Chief
extent
Justice-
that you have the judiciary, the collegium recommend, you have the government consider, and the matter go back to the collegium. By this process whereby a particular person says, I don't want to become a judge, you are trying to bring into system only one of conflict, to say there is a conflict between the executive and the judiciary, and look, this is what the Congress had
Ms.
not done,
Pinky
and this
Anand,
is what
you
the
are
BJP has
only
done.
repeating what I have myself said.